Great decorating is all about the details, including a gorgeous textured set of coasters. How we love a coaster. Functional. And why not be beautiful? Quince has a gorgeous set of woven rattan coasters in 3 terrific colors with their own little holder that you're going to absolutely love. And if you haven't visited quince.com/DTT yet, get on over there. It's everyday elevated living without the markup. From crisp 100% linen bedding and soft organic cotton towels to airy curtains and premium kitchen tools designed for everyday use. And the best part? Like Quince's clothing, their home goods are half the cost of similar brands. By partnering with top artisans, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. Elevate your space with home essentials from Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT.
Have a seat and let's dish. Hi, I'm Anita Joyce here with Kelly Wilkness, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks. Today's episode is covering the topic, is the dining room dead? And some people see the dining room as a vestigial organ, not worth keeping, and I think it's time for DTT to weigh in on the topic. What say you, Kelly?
Well, I'm not going to tell you my position right off the bat, but let's talk about it a little bit. As Mark Twain is quoted as having said about his own death, the reports of my death are greatly exaggerated. I would think that also pertains to the dining room. So that might tip you off as to how I'm going to ring in on this topic, but I think it is a bit over-exaggerated that the dining room is dead. The earliest reference that I found to the dining room being dead was in 2014. Did you find anything like that?
Well, are these the same people that said stainless steel appliances were dead? Because I want to know who these crazy people are.
There's a lot of people out there saying a lot of things. So that's why we're here to cut through it all for you.
Right. Now, I did see there are some stats that Modsy, which is an interior design site, they saw 156% increase in buyers that wanted a dining room between 2018 and 2019, which, is pre-pandemic. But I also found some conflicting information that said that, and this was 1,000 people surveyed, not really a large survey sample size. Less than 50% of the people surveyed eat dinner in the kitchen or the dining room, either one. I mean, they're eating on the couch in the bedroom, and I don't know where else. But I feel kind of like that's
on the drive-through line, maybe standing in front of the microwave.
In the car. That's right. In the hallway, I don't know. It does me too, because it just seems like, what kind of a life do you have where you can't even sit down at a proper table to eat? And I mean, I'm not opposed to eating at the island of the kitchen, but I don't want to sit on the sofa to eat. I just don't.
Why is the dining room or the idea of the dining room on the wane? Well, there's a lot of things that we do in the 21st century, right? We're less formal, which is good. And bad, I guess, but I think it's pretty good. We have super busy schedules, and the meal is no longer entertainment. We have so many other ways to entertain ourselves, and technology, of course, televisions, all sorts of things have come in the way of having a meal or a party or a dinner party specifically as your main form of entertainment.
So what you're saying is people would rather look at a screen than talk to the person across the table from them? Is that what we're hearing?
Well, I think that might be the case, but it doesn't have to be that way. You still have time for watching TV and checking your Instagram and doing all that fun stuff, but you can carve out some time to have a meal, even by yourself, in a beautiful setting. So I think you all know where we're going with our feelings on the dining room, but here are some other things that may impact whether or not you feel a dining room is important to you or whether it should be a regular room that you use in your home. Open concept. So if you have an open concept home, sometimes you don't have an extra room that is a dedicated dining room. So a lot of the eating or all of the eating is going on in this one area. So it doesn't feel like it's separate. But we'll talk about that later on, is how you can make that work as far as feeling like it's a separate dining room and feeling like it's special, even if you're all in one big open area. Also, furniture has changed. We find through our consults that people struggle with their dining room for all the reasons we're talking about today, because it kind of seems like a room that doesn't get a lot of action. They aren't having big parties, so they don't bother to use it. They use it on, Christmas or Hanukkah or Easter, and that's about it. So we want to talk about changing all that. But I think the furniture is also something that people struggle with in that room, because way gone is the day of the dining room set, right? And if you have one, that's even more of a problem for people, because they don't know what to do with it. They don't like their table, and then they certainly don't like their mahogany or cherry wood china cabinet or whatnot. So there's lots of reasons why people struggle with this room. So habits, furniture, layouts, all of that has changed and sort of left the dining room in the dust, or with dust, if you will.
In the dustbin. Well, right. And in looking at new construction that I try to keep on top of, I am seeing in a broad price range, so kind of lower end and higher end homes, that the dining room, they're not really putting dining rooms in new homes, which I find that does seem to be the trend. But I'm going to harken back to a few years ago during the pandemic. Our whole family was working from home, and we were all having our meals together, and we just kind of got tired of being that one big room together. So we opened up the dining room for business every day, and that's where we had our meals. So, we have an open concept home, and so eating in the kitchen or the breakfast room, it is one big room with a living room. And we just kind of got tired of being in that room. So we decided the dining room was going to be our lunch area. And it was just so nice to have a different view, to not be stuck in the same room all day. It was so wonderful to have a change of venue, to have a different view to see from the table. And usually the dining room is in the front of the house, and often the view is really a better one. I mean, in our dining room, we can see people walking on the street. They're pushing their strollers. They're walking their doggies. And so, you have something to look at there. So the trend may be more casual, but I think there are a lot of reasons why you might want to keep a dining room, even if you're more casual.
I want to commend the Joyce family for, and you probably were the inspiration for that, Anita, to get everybody in the dining room sitting together. So that certainly broke up some very long days of the pandemic, and just sort of make a meal special. And I think that was a great use of your home during that period of time. And why stop? Keep using it like that. I want to harken back to something you said about newer homes being built and seeing that they don't have dedicated dining rooms. Well, we have said this in the past with regard to contractors or builders. They seem to get the memo a little bit later.
Right.
And so I think that maybe they're missing the boat in totally eliminating a dining room, or the possibility of a room that could be a dining room in a new build, because I do believe that people are going to want to use a dining room, even if it's very sporadic, even if it's just on holidays, or a lot of people might start doing what your family did. It's a wonderful place to start that tradition again of having people over for a meal, looking them in the eye, having a conversation, or even if it's just your family. Have your kids around. Get your kids used to the idea of sitting at a table and having a beautiful setting and having a conversation. I mean, that's a great life skill, right? So there's so many reasons why I would like to keep the dining room alive and well.
Well, sure. And, we love beautiful dishes and silver and silverware and all these things. And, I'm sorry, but a beautiful dish with your silverware, it's not the same on a TV tray. It's just not the same thing as having it on a beautiful table with a beautiful tablecloth or runner or placemats. it's just nice to have a place where you can set that up. And especially if you have company over, it's really nice to have that dining room table. I will say one of the downsides to a lot of dining rooms is that they've made them so small that if you have a party and you have several people there, they're not really big enough to seat more than 6 people, maybe 8 people. And what if you have 20 people? And that really is a nod toward the open concept where you can put a very large table and you're not going to run out of room. Maybe you save it for special occasions, but if you're not using your dining room for special occasions, then why not use it for an office? Why not use it for a craft room or a place for the kids to do their homework? The thought of you paying for your taxes on this room and maintaining this room, I mean, it's not a small effort to maintain a room in your house, and it's very sad to think there is a room that's just not even being used.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. I think it's pretty clear we're both in favor of the dining room being used as a dining room, traditionally would be. But if that really is not working in your life right now, maybe you have little kids and it'd be better suited as a playroom, or you are now permanently working from home and you haven't had an opportunity to set up a home office or something like that. So even though we're in the pro dining room camp, what can we suggest to people who really feel at this juncture in their life they're not going to be using the dining room, or this hybrid where, yeah, I might be using the dining room for meals on holidays, or if I have a bunch of people over and we're having a sit-down meal, I'll use the dining room and have fun setting it up. But the other 364 days a year, I'd rather use it for something else. Now, some layouts, it's just going to be super awkward to have your dining room be something that is not a real dining room. I'm talking to all you Center Hall Colonial people. Beautiful layout, such a traditional, lovely home. But if you walked in and one side was the formal living room and the other side was a gym and you could see all the gym equipment, that would be a little awkward and weird, right?
No,
I mean, maybe you can put doors on, something like that. Also, not a great place for an extra bedroom in that type of layout because there's probably not a bathroom close by and nobody's going to want to sleep close to the front door and where everyone's coming in and out of the house. So maybe the way your layout is going to sort of dictate what you could or could not do in that dining room. But if it's something where you could put doors on, or you or family is very musical and you want to make it a music room or a library, a more casual hangout space rather than the formal living room, certainly you could do something like that, but I would encourage you to keep it as a dining room with a dining table and the appropriate amount of chairs, but then use it more often and use it with the table in place. Use it for an office or use it to do a project, if we have to spread something out. And then all that gets cleared away. It doesn't sit there for forever, right? You're done with the project. It gets cleared away and put away. If you're working there, the laptop gets closed, the papers get put away in a drawer somewhere, and then it looks like a beautiful dining room the rest of the day or throughout the weekend.
Yeah, I love your idea of making it into a library. And I think that's very flexible, where you put your bookcases in, maybe paint the walls a dark color, make it a very cozy space, and then just put a small table there with 2 chairs. And then on the other side, maybe some club chairs for reading or working on your laptop. Or you could even sit at the table to use your laptop. And then if you have guests, you can pull in a few more chairs to sit at the table. I think that would be a great way to use it fully for many functions and then still have a beautiful space to have a meal.
Absolutely. And that's a great use of the space. And I mean, that's sort of that dark, moody study you've always wanted to do. I think you just described that.
Yes, I know.
You really are going to have to do that someday. Hey, we'll be right back with the rest of the show, but keep listening so we can continue bringing you DTT. I can't stop using dupe.com. This is an amazing website, service, best friend. I absolutely love it. So you find something that you really want and it's too expensive, it's a budget buster. Then you use dupe.com and you can find almost the exact thing or very similar products for much less. So I was crushing on this incredibly gorgeous coffee table. I had it in my mind. I had it in my Pinterest boards. I had it everywhere, but I just didn't have it in my house because it was too expensive. When I learned about dupe.com, that was the first product that I tested. And boy, did I find some amazing dupes. And I purchased one. So the original was almost $3,000. And Dupe showed me many choices, all the way down to under $200. Now, you may think something this extraordinary is hard to use, but it's so easy. Just type dupe.com/ before any product URL in your browser, and boom, it instantly finds you less expensive alternatives. They even have an app and a browser extension you can download. No account required, no sign up required. It's completely free. That's completely free free to use. Stop wasting your money on brand names and start saving with dupe.com today. If you start to use the room even for just traditional dining, and I don't mean just, I'm just saying you don't turn it into some hybrid type of room. If that's where you set up the dinner and that's where you prepare and serve the meal, people are going to go sit there, right? So if if you're the one making dinner and that's where you set it out, they're going to go in there. So you can start this sort of little new tradition. Maybe you do it on Fridays and it's sort of a kickoff to the weekend or something like that. It's easy enough to try. If you've got a dining room and a table and some chairs, all you have to do is get the inspiration to actually have the meal in there. Try it. See if you like it. And for all of us that love decorating, the dining room is such a fun place to decorate. So you can enjoy trying out new tableware, table settings, vignettes. How are you going to just design it for everyday use, whether you put a big urn and maybe a plant in it. Get out your candlesticks, have some fun in the room, get yourself in there. And if you don't like your table or the furniture that you have right now, maybe that's the stumbling block. Then you think about it, spend some time in the room, listen to our other episodes about dining tables and how to decorate and how to make your china cabinet look fresh and new. We've got lots of different tips and episodes giving you loads and loads of advice on how to design a dining room. So maybe that's the only inspiration you need to really get yourself in there. Maybe try some wallpaper in there, paint it a different color. If it is a room that's onto itself, which oftentimes it is, particularly in older homes, it's a great place to really express your creativity in your decorating.
So true. And a couple of ideas. If you need to use it for a work from home space, you can always put French doors on it and close it off, and then just open the doors when it's being used for a dining space at some point. But, if you have a dining room, I think what we're saying is don't tear the walls down to make it an open concept. I mean, I would highly suggest that you not, because I think at some point you might be sorry that you don't have this closed off space, especially if you do need a work from home space, because that is such a nice way to use that space when you're not using it as a dining room. So I think that's a great idea. But the other thing you really talked about a little bit, Kelly, is that the dining room is no longer just for dinner parties. It's no longer just for formal meals. This is a great place to just sit and enjoy your family or enjoy company. It's just a great place to sit down and have a meal. And so if you're not using your dining room, I recommend that you just go in there and use it. And I was actually having an issue because my table was a Restoration Hardware table that is unfinished. So if you got any stain on it, oil would stain it. And so it just kind of made me worried about eating in there, because I just thought I kind of hate to eat in here and get anything on it. And so it was kind of an ordeal. I had to put like a vinyl tablecloth on, and then like a linen tablecloth on top of that. I couldn't really use placemats even because of the table, but I finally just went ahead and gave it a whitewash with some paint. And actually, I love the look. The grain still shows through. And now I don't have to worry about it. It's not so precious anymore. And I'm so relieved that, we can eat in there, and I'm not really worried about the table getting damaged anymore. So, again, if you're worried about something being damaged, try to think about what you could do so that you're not so worried about it. Maybe you have some chairs in there that you just feel like, these will just be ruined if we're using them all the time. Well, maybe put some different chairs in there, or put slipcovers on the chairs. So, there's a lot of things you can do, but I do think if you have the space, go use it and go enjoy it.
That's a great point that you make, because there might be the hesitation because, oh, that's the nice stuff. Or, that's the same
Right.
idea with the living room, where there were decades where people kind of cordoned it off. Like, no one could go in there because you don't want to sit on it or ruin it or anything. And might have the same feeling with regard to the dining table. And good for you that you just DIY'd a whitewash and now you really feel comfortable about using the table on a regular basis. Nothing's that precious. If you like antiques and you like patina, well, you're creating your own family's patina. Just go for it.
Just
right?
use some coasters for those glasses. Although I've heard some of these furniture brands, my neighbor who works for a kind of a large furniture store said that the furniture is coming to them, brand new furniture. And you know how they used to hit it with the chains to antique it?
Yeah.
Now they're leaving watermarks like a glass was sitting on it.
Oh, stop.
And I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding. I think those are the worst. I hate those.
Yeah. That doesn't, that's a little too,
So use a coaster. I don't think that's a good look.
Yes, arm yourself with some coasters and get yourself in that dining room. And think about resale too. Anita pointed out that she read something that Modsy people who are designing their homes on this computer-generated interior design platform. So they're putting in dining rooms. So that's where they're getting this information from. So people are wanting dining rooms. Definitely in higher-end homes, there's always a dining room. Right. You would be hard pressed not to have some sort of special dining area in a higher end home. So people are really still going to want a dining room. Right? Each room in your home has a purpose. You certainly wouldn't think about making your home without a bedroom, right? Or without a kitchen. Certainly you want a bathroom. Now people are going to be thinking, oh, I want a home office or I want a gym. So why would the dining room be something that you would leave off that list? I think it's really important to have that in your home. Eating and sharing meals is a very integral to human interaction, and it's a great space to have. So don't knock down those walls if you have a dedicated dining room. And if you have open concept, well, there are ways to handle this. Anita had what would you call it? A breakfast area created in her home. Mm-hmm. So she has a dining area, which is so beautiful. And I'm sure you've all seen it in her beautiful blog and also on her Instagram. And that's a nice area, a lovely area to sit. And if she didn't have her own separate dining area, that could be the dining area. Mm-hmm. So you would be able to possibly carve something out of your open concept area. Don't just rely on standing in the kitchen, standing by the microwave, or sitting at a stool. If you can tuck in a table, even if it's a table for two or table for four, that's a lovely area. Just so it's separate. It's another destination, even if it's in this open area.
I so agree. It's great to have a place for a table. Don't eat standing up. Don't eat in the hallway. Don't eat on your bed.
Oh, no.
I mean, a snack is one thing, but we're not trying to tell you what to do, but we're just saying, live a little, enjoy life, and celebrate these everyday moments. And I think that's one way to do it, is to enjoy that dining room that you have.
Well said. Long live the dining room. So what are we defining today?
Today we are defining change order. And I know you know what it is. We've both built houses.
Shutters, yes.
But But the first time I heard the term, I'm like, what is this? I had no idea it was going to be such an important part of my life. So this is a change order is the industry term for the amendment to a construction contract that changes the contractor's scope of work. So if you have a home builder constructing a home for you, typically you sign a contract with many details about specifically what work is going to be done. And when you're making changes that aren't outlined in the contract, like adding more power outlets or moving an overhead light to a new location, anything like that, that might require a change order. And when there's a change order, there's going to be a fee because it's an unexpected expense that the home builder is now going to have to deal with. So the thing to keep in mind with these change orders is some of these unscrupulous home builders really can gouge you with these change orders. I've seen a lot of cases where people go with the cheapest bid on a house, and then they think, oh man, I'm getting a great deal. This guy's going to not charge me much, but they didn't maybe do a lot of research on the builder. And then there's change order. Then every little thing they decide on, oh, that's a change order. Oh, that's a change order. That's a change order. And the charges can really add up. And at the end of the day, they're spending more than if they had just gone with a different contractor who was going to charge them more. So just be careful with these change orders. My builder was great. There's a lot of things that he didn't even charge me for. And when he did, it felt like a reasonable fee. So I think the bottom line here is, or the takeaway is, when you go to select a home builder, do your research, call every single reference and ask about everything, including those change orders.
Oh, that's great information to share with people. Really good DTT defines today. And it's not just if you're building from scratch. If you're doing a renovation, any sort of renovation, it could even be something small, you really have to be aware of the possibility of getting charged for a change order. And it is fair to the contractor. I mean, some people probably try to take advantage in that circumstance, but it does change their workflow. They might have to add additional tradespeople, or they might have to order some new supplies to get the job done. So it is fair for them to get an additional fee if you're changing your mind. So what you need to do to try to avoid that ever happening to you is plan again, and then think it through all over again and make sure that you know what you want and where you want it. And maybe what you want to do in an instance like that is, if you're new to all of this, is hire somebody who is maybe not only an interior decorator, but somebody who has had experience in building. It doesn't have to be doesn't have to be an architect, even. It doesn't have to be another contractor, but somebody who has had some experience. I mean, certainly Anita and I have done consults for people who are in the building or the renovation phase. So you could sign up for a consult with us, but find somebody who knows what they're talking about and knows what you should be thinking about. Because if you've never experienced it before, it's definitely a big learning process going through a build or even a renovation.
Mm-hmm. Very true. So what is your crush?
Oh, it's food today, which is unlike me. Yeah. And I think you're going to really like it.
Okay.
Orange olive oil cake mix from Whole Foods. It is gluten-free. It is absolutely delicious. So easy to make. So it comes in the mix. You do use a little bit of orange juice. I think it was maybe a quarter cup or something like that. And you make it in an 8-inch pan. So it's a round. I guess you could make square too, but it was so moist. If you've never had an olive oil cake, it might be like when I first heard when I was little of cheesecake. I'm like, cheesecake, that's so gross. So if you haven't tried an olive oil cake, maybe the name isn't really like getting your taste buds going, but olive oil cake is delicious. If you like pound cake, you'll love it. And then my daughter and I decorated the top of it with berries. So we did blackberries and strawberries cut up, and then some slices of orange in the middle. And then we just shook a little confectioner sugar on the top just to make it look really pretty. It was the most beautiful cake and so yummy. And you wouldn't even have to put anything on the top of it. It's just delicious on its own. So I will put the link in the show notes.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I'm going to have to check this one out. So my crush is an IG account called Law of Doggy. Have you seen this one?
No, but is it about dogs? Because I have so many IG dog accounts that I follow. It's ridiculous.
It's just silly, funny dog memes. And some days, Evie and I communicate exclusively with memes from Law of Doggy. So they're just really funny and cute. And if you like funny memes and you love dogs, I think you're going to like it.
Oh, okay. I'm going to add it to my list for sure. I mean, every day I'm like, should I adopt this one? And then I'm always so relieved when there's somebody has commented that they put in their application. I'll just add another furry account to my feed. Thank you, Anita. This was so much fun today. So go in your dining room and have maybe just a glass of wine. Just get in there today. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. And remember, we are here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time. Want to talk to us? Well, we really want to talk to you. So let's schedule a design consult. Anita and I are here to give you individualized, actionable advice on how to create the beautiful home you want and deserve. It's so easy to schedule a design consult with us. Simply click the link in the show notes or head to decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. When we talk to you on the scheduled time, we will be ready with so many great tips, advice, and yes, tricks. So sign up today for a design consult. We can't wait to talk to you.